Good evening and welcome to the Prince George's County Memorial Library System's virtual programs. Tonight's program features author M.T. Pope in conversation. It's part of the library's LGBTQ+ and author programming. M.T. Pope is based in Baltimore and is a nationally renowned author of fiction. He will be interviewed tonight by Erica, LaDonna, and Nick from the PGCMLS library system. We appreciate everyone joining us tonight. We are also broadcasting on Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube, so feel free to share the broadcast with your friends and network, and we'll be getting started just in one more moment. Please note that this program was pre-recorded, so the author is not available to answer questions live, but feel free to share your questions with our hosts in the chat or comment feeds wherever you are watching the program from. Tonight's program will last just over an hour. We hope you enjoy, and see you again soon.
There we go.
I got drinks. It's water, but hey.
Yes, I have water as well, so.
Yeah, I'm good.
We're drinking clear today.
Mondale, what you drinking? We ain't hit
I have grapes.
Oh, that's good.
Making his own wine.
Right. Fresh wine.
That's as close as you're going to get.
I have seltzer. Pretty lame.
Don't you guys influence my little brother. He's sweet and innocent. You read his books.
I have grapes.
Not at all. Real.
The first page, I was like, clutches pearls.
Which one is it? Which one did you read, Erica?
You know what? I don't know. I might be just. There we go.
I got drinks. It's water, but
yes. I have water as well.
I think it was both sides of the fence.
We're drinking clear today.
White cover. Mondale, what you drinking? That's the one that we ain't hit.
And
I laid in my living room floor for 7 hours.
Oh, that's good.
Cover to cover.
Making his own wine.
I think I got
right. You are so silly. I'm done with you. I'm done with you. This is a family program.
It is.
Oh my God, please.
It's the adult program. Let's just keep it honest.
It is.
If you read empty, not at all. You better.
The first page, I was like, clutches. I was reading Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the part. Because I know that's like an anthology. I might be better. Here we go.
That was fun for me.
I got drinks. It's water, but
yes.
It
looked like it was.
Both sides of the fun.
Clear today.
He called me on a humble, like it was in the middle of 2 projects. And he's like, can you do this? And I wrote the synopsis on the phone while he's talking. I didn't know what Don't Ask, Don't Tell was. I knew a little bit of it. I had to go research it later, but I wrote the synopsis. It's inside the phone call.
Mm-hmm.
The story was like, it was super easy because I like drama. I like to write drama, let me say that.
Okay.
You like drama.
So,
noted.
So it was a whole bunch of the title was Dishonorable Discharge. That says a lot.
It does. It said a lot. It did.
It says a lot. So, and, I'm not one of those people where you're going to get the bubblegum story. No, it's not going to happen. If you're a squeamish and all that stuff, is just you read the back, it's going to tell you. And then my first sentence, almost all of my books, you're going to know where it's going at from the first sentence, first paragraph. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that's what I was told as a writer. I used to work in a bookstore. So everything I read, it was popping from the first page. If they don't grab you at the first page, then I'm bored. So I took that same type of style and said, I have to do it that way. Mm-hmm. Like I have to earn this check. You give me a check in the beginning, so I have to pay for it. So in the end, it comes together. It's not all just sexy, but that's if we actually be very serious and honest in this country, we nasty. Okay, we're all nasty. Okay.
Come on. I just got off a Bible study call. Okay.
Come on now. How much
I'm gonna have to repay after this interview, Mondale.
50 Shades of Grey. Come on now.
That's true.
Look how much money it made.
That was very popular.
We like that stuff. We lie about it, but we like that stuff. So you know, out the gate, that's when you're going to get not just that. It's going to be substance in between, but I'm going after what I know people's attention is. It's right there, you know, not all the time, but, you know, we nasty. So,
And people like to check those books out from the library, so they don't.
Right. You know, they might not be getting it at home.
I wonder how the return process is with that. It's like, do they try to like slip it into the thing and like scurry away? Or do they like hold your eye contact as they hand it back to you to check it in? Like, yeah.
Well, I've done a lot of libraries, and I think one of my the guy, he's not in Maryland anymore, but he actually contacted me because they were stealing my books out. They weren't returning them.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So he was like, can you come here? So they stealing your books, okay? And not just mine, but just the books in general. But the good ones, they steal them. They don't want to return them. They want to read them over and over again.
That's true. I've noticed that too.
Cool.
I have to be biased too, because when I'm doing shelving, I purposely merchandise your book. So I want my cut of the check, please. And so I purposely face them out and say, oh, MT 1, 2, 3. Like I had a whole shelf just of your books. So I need 1/3 of each one. I even sent you pictures of it, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I need my check. I'm done. I got one more. Let's go. I'm sorry, Erica. Go ahead. I just had to put that in there.
No, you're fine. What branch have you worked at where you have purposefully promoted MT?
Oh, the real FH, Fairmont Heights, and then at Spalding as well. But wherever I see his books, because I'll be like, oh, this is my brother. Let me put this on the shelf right here. You know, put it out there, because I do that for a lot of authors. Though I try to support those, who, especially the ones I know personally. But you know, like MT is in Baltimore. We're in Prince George's County, so I want to be able to expand his audience too and bridge that gap between the Baltimoreans, private inside joke, and the Prince Georgians, all the Ians. And so I just want to be able to, you know, make sure that, you know, especially my fam gets their love. So I just want my check, and we'll call it a day.
Oh my God.
What?
I still have to work from 9 to 5.
You have not, because you asked not. But go ahead, Erica. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm quiet.
No, you're fine. I like learning more about, like I had said before, I'm not from here, so I'm still learning like the people and everything. I haven't even been to Baltimore yet.
Oh, wow.
Are you, LaDonna? I need to go. Well, I haven't been here too long. So, I mean, I came here, then coronavirus, and I'm like, you know, so my travel is limited.
Where did you live before?
Yeah.
New York. So, you're like,
Baltimore. The bigger Baltimore. How about that?
Right. Yeah,
Right,
the very big Baltimore.
I'm gonna let MT tell you about Baltimore. I'm just gonna tell you about how I met him. You can't laugh. Come on.
I'm sorry.
When I met MT, we met at the Baltimore Book Festival, and it was very hot, and then it was very rainy.
Very hot.
It's very nasty out there. And so, you know, neither one of us had our books out yet. And so MT was walking around trying to be like the trunk of the car pimp, and just kind of walk around with it. And so, but we were both out there promote. And I think that's why we got so close. All right, now I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk about it. I'm done. For real, I'm just taking notes.
I like to hear about it. Sounds like you guys have a personal relationship. You're both natives. You're both native authors. So I'm just kind of, you know, like, I enjoy being the fly on the wall and listening to how you guys met.
I'm not from Baltimore. Disclaimer, I just live
there.
there.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
You gotta clarify that.
Yeah. Well, what would you say, MT, like, what do you think influenced you to write, being from Baltimore? Like, what, you know?
Well, it's a combination of stuff. Working in a bookstore, like she said, the bookstore job was a part-time job to pay my electricity because I was living somewhere I couldn't afford. So, but then, you know, I said, I'm not gonna read any books in here. It was an all-black bookstore, you know, and it was like one of the first of its kind of, you know. But I said, I'm just a part-time job. Like, I'm not reading any books. I'm just gonna sell books. They're gonna have to come in and know what they need before they get it. That didn't happen like that. You pick up a book, and then there's the next book, and then the next book, and then before you know it, I was reading about 5 or 6 books a week.
Wow.
And it was any kind of genre for the most part. But then you know, we had book signings, a lot of book signings in the store for authors from all over. They would come in, fly in, and things like that. So I would get to interact with them, help them with the book signing. You know, we were mostly in malls, setting, so you have to run out and grab people, say, come here, check this book out, you know. So I was like, let me see if I can write a book. Say, the guy that owned the bookstore is called Rubber. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a publisher. He's probably the only Black publisher right now, besides Zane, the largest African-American publisher. He published, when I was there about 7 years ago, he was doing close to 500 or 600 books a year, publishing.
Oh,
and
wow.
that was about, yeah, he's still publishing now.
Wow.
He still has about 4 or 5 books every month. That's in Walmart, Target, and Kmart, all that stuff. But anyway, I said, let me just try. You know, I read books, you know, I was getting into the groove. I like the drama and stuff, so let me try. I banged out one over a couple months. And I was like, okay, that's it. So I never mentioned it because he's a publisher, and I'm like, I'm not mentioning it to him because I'm scared of this dude. Like, he's New York Times. Like, he don't care about my book. I just work here and sell books. Anyway, my best friend was actually the one that incorporated me into the job. So she mentioned it to him, and he had called me and said, can I look at it? I was like, oh God. Like, cause you're amateur, you don't know what you're going to get. I'm sensitive, and you know, say some bad thing about me, I'm in the shell for 3 weeks. But that didn't happen. He called me back maybe a month later and offered me a 2-book deal with an advance, because you know people don't do no advances anymore. Like, and it was a couple grand. Okay, I was working for him. Okay, so I was like, wow. So 2 turns into 4, 4 into 6, and then now I have about 14 after about 11 years now. Wow. Yeah. So you know, my biggest one right now is the one that I published last year. It's called Trouble in Y'all. It's a series that he wrote called The Family Business. It's on BET, and the season 2 just came out today.
Oh my gosh.
BET Plus. Now, the thing is, it was a series that was written by a couple people, him and a couple people. So I just wrote a book about one character, you know, and with him. And you know, he changed some stuff I ain't like, but but anyway. But the check was nice, very nice. So
I bet.
You can change whatever you want.
So it's like, that's where I'm at right now. Like I didn't get recognition for the book, kind of say. My name is on the book, but you know, when you read books, you see the big name, you see the small name. Usually the person that has the small name is one that wrote the book. Right. And the one at the top gets the credit for it. So when I get to the reviews, they didn't even talk about me at all. I felt some type of way. Then I was like, wait a minute, I got a real good check. Let me be quiet. So that's actually where I'm at right now. I'm working full time. I don't have a book out yet. Another one for this year. I don't know what's going to happen. I've been kind of, I'm gonna say lazy. And I'm a store manager for Rite Aid, so it takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
But I do have like at least 10 books on my computer that's not finished yet.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
What's your writing process like? Like you said, you're a store manager at Rite Aid, but then you're also like this, like, you know, kind of erotica.
My first couple books, I was in the bookstore, so my laptop, that's my job. It was my job to write books. So I was selling books and writing books in the store. Like, that was the atmosphere. So, you know, when things shifted to ebooks, you know, the bookstores closed, I had to get a real job.
Those are the worst. I said those are the worst, the real jobs.
Right.
This is recorded.
Oh yes.
It feels, but it's challenging to even look. Like, I come by, I haven't written since probably January last year. Because it's a little challenging now. The climate has changed with books. It's a little more challenging money-wise. You know, you got to put a lot in. Like, not that I don't want to. It's a lot. You know, putting a book together, like the ideas cohesive, and then getting it to the publisher or choosing to self-publish, because I have published books that are called Weber Published, and I have my own that I publish too. So like they're on all platforms for the most part, except for my first book, which is out of print paperback and it's not on ebook. So I'm working with my publisher on that. Don't worry about that. Right. But that's still that #1 book is still my best-selling book, even if it is out of print. I got a check the other day for all my books, and it's still selling. It's only a couple, but somebody else across the road was buying it.
What's the self-publishing process like? That sounds interesting.
It's a lot more than, you know, when you're writing a book and you're going to a publisher. You just write the manuscript. They take it, send it to an editor. They send it back to you 3 or 4 times. They copyright it for you. They do the cover. For me, I paid for my own cover because I didn't like their cover designer. but everybody's different. I'm a little unique. But anyway, they do most of that work for you. Advertising is on you. They do some advertising, depends on what they do. Like my first 2 books were in like, I forgot the magazine. It was a really popular Source magazine or something like that. He put a whole ad and put other people's books in and just get people to sell it. But as a self-published author, whew, you gotta have money, patience, and more patience, because it's writing the book is the easy part. Then you have to find, you get it copyrighted, and you can't copyright a title. You can copyright an idea. I didn't know that either. But anyway, then you get it copyrighted. You know, you gotta get your barcodes,
ISBN.
ISBNs and all of that, and then you gotta find your editor. That's the most expensive part, the editor. And you want a good editor, copy editor, and it's like 3 different ones. But you need, if you can get somebody that can do all 3, you good. But you have to
even find out about like the steps of doing all this. Was it just like a crash course, or? It's
not hard. Like I did my self-publishing through Amazon. I got my editor to do it, and I found someone that was pretty easy, not expensive, but they were colleagues, so they were doing my stuff for me, and he was reading and enjoying it, but he was editing it at the same time. So it was an easier process if you know somebody that you can trust, because nowadays trust. You can't just put your manuscript in somebody else's hand, even if you know them. Even if you copyright it, they'll flim-flam and switch it and change names and I mean I've read about it. Thank God it's never happened to me.
Right.
But you have to be careful. All right, so you find your trusted editor. They're going to be expensive. They charge by word, by page, by sentence. And it's sometimes it could be like a $2 a page or $5 a page.
Wow.
And that's just for, you got somebody that proofreads, you got somebody that makes sure your timeline is right, you got somebody that makes sure everything flows, and then you got somebody that comes behind them and do like everything else again at once, and then they hand it to you for the last read. And that's almost a year. Takes a lot of time, and if you try to rush it, you're not going to get a good product. But nowadays, people they editing with Microsoft Word. That's their editor, and it works sometimes.
No.
I'm not gonna say I haven't done it with a short story.
Right.
But people can tell. People aren't dumb. People read. A lot of people that read, they are educated people, so they know where it's supposed to be. That's not there, and they'll call you out on it. And I've had that happen once. So you learn your lesson. And then you move on. You can't be cheap with this. If you want to have a publishing company or publishing house or publish your own books, you can't be cheap, because if somebody's going to pay $10 for your book, they're going to enjoy it. They'll forgive you for some mistakes, but if you got some craziness going on, timeline craziness, where I read something the other day where somebody would say Beyonce was back in England or something like that back in the day. They had Beyonce headline the Supremes or something. So you have to be careful with that type of stuff. But yes, self-publishing is more fulfilling because you get all the money back, but at the same time, like with my publisher that I have, Urban Books, they give you a check up front. Okay, you got to make it back before you get anything else in royalties. But I've been with him about 10 years published, so 11 years, and I've gotten a check every 6 months except for twice. Now I'm not gonna say they are $1 million checks. They're not. I still gotta go to work every day like everybody else. But that's the purpose. My process for writing is, I'm called an organic writer, which means when I'm typing, I have no idea what I'm going to type when I put my hands on the keyboard. I have no idea. Like I go back and read stuff now that I've written, and somebody else wrote that, because I can't remember writing. I don't remember writing. I don't do outlines. I do the synopsis on the back. That's about it. I have an idea, but characters go this way, ideas go that way. And things, they just kind of come together even after I get it edited and things like that. That was the process for me most of the time. It has changed. I do have to use a little bit more structure now that I'm older. I got other things to do. And it also helps me personally. I have nobody to talk to at the moment. Like I let creative juices flow. Everybody's busy now, so they're trying to get their stuff out, and I'm a creative person, but you can't do this thing by yourself. You know, if you have an author that's saying they're doing it by themselves, they're not throwing no ideas at nobody, they lying. Because it's not easy. And I'm a creative person. And I discovered that at the bookstore.
Right. And you had said, I know you had said the bookstore seemed like it was kind of an experiment at the time. Like you had mentioned it was a Black-owned bookstore.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like the first of its kind, not an experiment, like the first of its kind. What do you think that did? What did you see? Did you see a change in the community working there?
We had I had a lot of book signing, a lot of events. The bookstore I was at was in a rough part of town, kind of. But we had some celebrities come through, like Carl Weber published, I forgot the rapper's name. His name is, oh my gosh, he was Lil Romeo's father. I forgot his name.
Master P.
Yeah, he was there, had to cut off the ropes and things like that. So we had some good events there, some really good book clubs that came through, things like that. I was actually in charge of doing book signs. At one point, Carl Weber had 13 bookstores on the East Coast, all Black bookstores, and from South Carolina all the way up to New York. And I was actually in charge of signing book signings and scheduling things like that.
So you got to meet some people.
Yes, it actually honed my skills a lot, you know, because I'm an introvert. I like to stay in the house, you know. But when I'm outside, it's a whole different person.
Okay, thank you. I'm about to say, you better flip that switch and stop telling the story. I'm trying to be quiet. I'm trying to
You would never know. You would never know that I was crazy up here a little bit when it comes to writing books. Like when you read the stuff that I write, it's outside the box. And that was my goal. I'm going to pull you up about social issues. It's not going to be nice. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be, my first editor, her name was Maxine Thomas, and she lived in California. I didn't know who this lady was. When they send you back your manuscript, you know, you get the editor's notes and things like that. And she said her notes, I'm going to call you because I've never read anything like this in my life. And I have to see who wrote this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she will say something bad. And I'm like, she called me, and I was like, I don't know this lady. And she was like, this is one of the best books I've ever read. She was like, it was a bit much. She said, but when she reads books and edit books, she always asks, show me something I don't know. And she said that was the whole book. And I was like, wow. So I tried to create a kind of a rhythm with that, not duplicating books, but getting better with every book. You know, because my first book was, it was rough. It was really rough. Like, content wise, like it was graphic. I'm not going to go into details because you gotta read the book. But I can tell you that it's a lot of people say it's life changing, and that it was in your face. They call me the in your face author, because when I write stuff, you can't sugarcoat it. Like you have to make it interesting, but you also have to get some ideas and some knowledge out of it, some lessons and things like that. And it's not always pretty.
Can you give the title and like a little synopsis for everyone viewing? Like the first part, just a little teaser of your first book.
I'm gonna skate over that one. I was waiting on you to take a breath. No,
I was too.
Here's the thing, MC. You said it's in your face. It's life changing. It does all this. Okay, without going into the exact depiction of it, we'll read all the other stuff. Can you give us like, the words that are like not between the line? You know, I'm gonna get you if you don't.
I'm gonna give you a little backstory first. The series I have is called Both Sides of the Fence. It's 4 parts. I was working at Walmart for a while, about 8 years. But anyway, this is gonna be different. I don't talk about it a lot.
If you don't say it,
I'm gonna say it.
They can say it.
I think you have to say it.
So you know how they tell you don't poop where you eat? I did that. I dated somebody at work.
Thank you.
And it wasn't what it was. So,
What do you mean?
know,
What do you mean? No, don't you do that. We have to live vicariously through you right now. Don't you do that. I told you. I got on Bible study to talk to you. You're gonna make this good. You better tell me.
He wasn't always truthful. The person I was dating.
Come on.
And I was naive. I was green as the grass as on the White House lawn. So I was giving him money to save for us. It didn't work out. He was taking my money. Give it to somebody else.
Book money? This wasn't book money. These checks.
No, this is Walmart money.
Okay, all right. How may he
Not
help you?
if it was the book money.
No,
How may he help you?
But it got me the book money though.
Okay, all right, go ahead. So go ahead.
So he ended up, running off or whatever. So I said, wow, somebody told me it was an expensive lesson. I got over it. A couple months later, I work at the bookstore, and then I decided to write a book. So I said, let me write about a guy who's on the down low. But he's married with kids, and everybody in the book got secrets, every single person.
Right.
Every single person. Like it's a point in the book where you read part of it and you're gonna throw the book across the room, because I had thousands of people telling me they couldn't finish half of it. Because it was a point where they got to the book, they was like, he's not gonna do this. He's gonna do this. Oh my gosh, he's doing this. I can't say it to you because my editor was like, don't ever write about that again. Right. But anyway.
Do you feel like writing it was therapeutic for you to help you get over what you experienced with that guy?
Well, I didn't know at the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The protagonist, the antagonist of the book, I never meant him to be the most popular character. He was supposed to be a side character, secondary. It was a main character. I don't think he was missing in the back of the book. I'm not sure. I think he was maybe. But he became like this big antagonist. He was really bad, like really bad. Mm-hmm. Like, but I didn't know that I had some of that pain there. You don't know. You're writing a story. You think it's just fiction. You make it up, and then you go back and you get to look at it. You're like, hey, I was mad. I was angry. Like the stuff I did in the book was horrific. Like, listen, like people say you always exaggerate, and then they read the book. They was like, you did not write this. You look too sweet to write this. Wow. And I'm looking at them like, no, I wrote it. I mean, I guess that's what people do when they write. It's therapeutic for them. It gets some of the crazy stuff out. I always say I would never do some of the stuff he did, but I would be lying.
You're nasty.
Right.
So would you say that how much of the things going on in your books would you say have like happened in your real life? How much of it is inspired by real life events?
Oh my! See, it would be better when you ask that question if you read the first book, like because you would be like, I could say so and so this part is real. I just twisted it. See, a lot of fiction is real when you just, it's just twisted. So you change the situation around and you play with it, and that's what I did. Like some of the stuff you wouldn't believe happened in the book was what happened. The stuff that you believed happened didn't happen.
Pick me. I got a question.
Go for it, baby.
The plumber dude from book
one.
Oh
my God, that's the cleanup man.
Okay.
That was
the plumber
who
came in there, and let's just say he looked at the plumbing.
Oh my!
Right.
We'll just leave it there.
Are you prudish? Are you a prude? Like, are you are you like?
I'm over 18. Yes, let's go.
I'm over 18.
Right.
Are you like what's it, conservative?
Or are you speaking about me?
Yeah.
No, not really. I'm faking like I'm shocked.
I'm gonna pull it out you. No problem.
We're just at work. That's the only.
We're at work. I'm clocked in.
I can mail you a book. It's called A Cleanup Man, and it's it's a Betty Wright song. You know the Betty Wright song, A Cleanup Woman. Have y'all heard that before? A Cleanup Woman. No.
I don't remember it.
Yes.
Nick, I'm getting the clue.
I might have heard it. I'll go find out.
I might know it, but it's not coming to mind at the moment.
So it's about a woman who gets men that women don't want, like they married or whatever. And if you don't want them, I'll take them. So I said I listened to the song. I listened to the song and I was like, let me go a gay version of that. Like, let me do that.
Goodness.
It was that was one of my it was a little bit more it was some stuff in there that I was like, oh my gosh, that involved children and stuff. I was like, it's not what you think. But
okay.
it was pushing it. It was pushing. My editor was like, you're pushing it. You're really pushing it. But you go ahead and publish it. My publisher didn't have a problem with it because my books were selling. I have another book called I kind of do things with books, kind of. I didn't know that I was a revenge author. Like a lot of my books are about revenge. Like 1, 2, 3, or 4, both sides of the fence. You got some revenge stuff going on. Victim. So I wrote a story about bullying called Stick Up Voice. And I think that's one of my favorite self-published ones because the storyline was unique. It's about 4 gay boys in high school that they were tired of getting picked on. So they decide to say, hey, okay, we're gonna y'all gonna pick on us, we're gonna pick on y'all. They started kidnapping some of the guys that were and doing things that were, the stick ups, but it wasn't physically, it wasn't money.
You're blushing. You're blushing, just so you know. I just want you to know I'm watching, you're blushing, but go ahead.
Right, because it's going to be different. When the editor for that book, he texted me, he was like, he's an author too. He's like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you? It was unconventional, but it had a message inside about bullying. You can't fight fire with fire. That was the message with my book. Being bullied isn't a goal for getting somebody back, and everything has consequences. And that book had some consequences, but it wasn't what everybody thought it was. But that was a very I put the cover out and the synopsis, and I was so scared because it was different, but it was in your face too, and you're used to it. But some people aren't always receptive.
How did you feel it was received once it was put out?
It was pretty good. I got good reception, but some people were like, why you always write like that? Like, this is the way I write. Like, I didn't even set out to be an author. I just tried it, and I happened to be good at it. So I'm like, that's the way I write. It's going to be here. Even with the book that I finished last year with Carl Weber, I was writing it, and I know Carl Weber books, he's a New York Times bestseller, but he doesn't write a lot of sex in his books. And when I write sex, it's porn, okay? It's just porn, okay? You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna flip. I'm just gonna flip till I get to the story. And I was writing it, and the person that was helping me with the storyline, because I had a couple of issues. Because when you're writing a book for somebody to give you an idea, it's totally different, because you're like, this is not my book, but this is my book. And I didn't feel like I was free to write what I wanted. I knew the storyline I wanted to go, where I wanted to go at, but they called me and said, why you don't have any sex scenes in your book? You have all these straight people having sex, but no gay sex. And this was a straight guy. I'm like, excuse me? I was like, but Carl Weber said, he said, I don't care what Carl Weber said. I said, write it. If he takes it out, he takes it out. So I did it. He took it out. It was one of my favorite scenes.
Did you save that part though somewhere?
Of course,
good.
Yeah, okay. Use it for something else. Like, I was going to use that scene in the book, and I thought that was going to be the scene that I used it for. But Carl Weber is not he's not a prude, but he's contemporary, where his base isn't going to rip it really good. They're going to be offended. Okay, like they're old ladies, not old ladies, but older ladies. If I give you a bathroom scene, I'm just gonna leave it at that. In a public bathroom, in a book, they're gonna be like, "You need to call up. I like the way you're going with your writing." So he took it out. I wasn't excited about it, but like I said, I got that check. But
so you asked me before if I was a prude, and you're mentioning like other people who might be a little like uncomfortable with certain scenes. But to you, like when you write, who is like the MT Pope audience that you're writing to?
Working in the bookstore, my books were there in the bookstore when I was working, so I got to saw a lot of my books in the bookstore at the time. So the audience is mainly women.
Okay.
some married couples before some wives will force their husbands to read it. I'm saying force because they, you know, a lot of heterosexual guys. I've had letters from jail, and I've had other guys that, you know, read your book when you're coming up with something else.
Oh, wow.
All
like,
right.
listen, I'm talking about really straight guys. Like they're reading my books, and I'm like, I work at Rite Aid, and I work in the hood sometimes. And recently, I had to go back to a store that I worked at before, and it's dead in the hood. Like I'm not talking about drug dealers on the corner in the hood. They called me out, hey, you got another book coming out? I turned back, what? You know,
Wow.
I'm talking about these ain't just serving somebody. You gonna come up to me talk about you got any books in your trunk? I mean, these are drug dealers, like go to jail, like hardcore.
Why?
And my stuff is not sensitive. It's XXX all the way, guy or guy, female or female, all of that. I mean, and it's super scary to even target an audience now because you just don't know who's reading your books.
Right.
You just don't know. At the beginning, it was the women, the older women that come in the bookstore, some younger ones too, but just generally women that will read my book. Like I said, some guys, but right now the spectrum has moved. It has moved because it is not going to be. It's not advertised. They might send you an inbox, email, things like that. My audience is wide now. Like it's not just any one demographic. Like I still sell books in the store when I'm not supposed to at Rite Aid. So like the people that you don't know that read your books, because being in a bookstore you encounter hundreds of people, and in Maryland he had about 5 bookstores. So I was working at Arlon at some point. So you're encountering a lot of people, and you have some guys walk up to you and they be like, when your next book coming out? And you look at them like, excuse me, do I know you? Because it's literally, with the climate, it's scary because you just don't know what people's motives are.
Right.
You know? Even though we're out, and people we queer and we're happy about it, some people might be probing. And it's super scary. It's like when them drug dealers walk up to me, and it's more than one. I've had it happen at Walmart.
Oh my goodness.
Not the one I'm working at, but just shopping. Like, hey, when your book come out, you turn around like, whoa, who are you? And these are guys. These are big guys. And cute guys too. But you're like, so my audience has changed. Like I said, it started with the women, and now it's just a bigger spectrum because some people are living the closeted life and some aren't. So they'll buy the book, and then they let their girlfriend read it. When she's not around, they're reading it. And I was like, wow, woo, get me out of here.
Do you feel like the people who may live in, as you said, the closet life, do you feel like kind of any animosity coming from them from you because you're kind of like exposing them, or do you feel like they're just enjoying it? Them.
To be honest, they expose themselves.
Right.
I have nothing to do with that at all.
Right.
Anything that comes out your mouth is your problem and your idea. And if my book triggered it, then so be it.
Right.
But no, I don't take blame for any of that stuff. I wouldn't even dare.
Right.
I feel good at night.
Right.
Other people's problems are their problems. I got my own fresh batches, okay?
Right, fresh batches. That's the new one. I'm going to steal that. How would you say that your life has changed? So you have people coming up to you from different walks of life, asking you about when your next book is coming out, giving you feedback. Like, how has your life changed in other ways since becoming, an author?
Like I'm an introvert by nature, so like. I'm on vacation this week, okay? And I live quarantine life outside of quarantine life, okay?
Same.
And,
Same.
and I do go outside, don't get me wrong. Like, if I didn't have to work, I wouldn't. If people were actually buying these books instead of passing them around or whatever they do, then I probably would be writing for a living. But since I get to be out there, I have to be. I'm learning to still learning because I'm a store manager, so I have to be like confrontational. Oh my gosh, I hate it. I absolutely don't like confrontation at all.
Right.
But I'm learning to deal with it, and God's given me a gift of humor, so you're not going to get a mean response most of the time. Like somebody last week caught it. Okay. But and it, you know, the book life, I got to meet different people. So, you know, people add to your life no matter where you meet them from or how you meet them. So that actually pushes you into different directions in life. And I think it personally made me a better person with authors and with the readers as well.
Mm-hmm.
MT, I got a question. You said that you get a lot of attention from especially like males, right?
Mm-hmm.
I looked at some of your covers. Well, I looked at your covers, and you have some hot models on your cover. Do you select those, or are they set? Is there like a pool? Is there a store? Is there a catalog? Like
Important questions.
Yeah, let's get to the real important stuff. I just want to know. Is there like a marketplace, a farmer's market? What is it? You know,
Farmer's market.
You know, I'm just trying to find out. I'm just trying to benefit fully from the experience of the MT Pope.
Well, when I got signed, I get to see all the book covers as they come in with all the different authors, and I'm like, ew, who's doing these covers? I don't want nobody to do my cover. And I, remember I was bougie, bougie.
Still are.
So I told my publisher, I was like, Carl, listen, I'm gonna pay for my own covers, like, cause like the person that was doing, like, I don't know if you know, like authors Ashley and Jaquavis, they're New York Times bestsellers. They're phenomenal, like Treasure Blue, people like that. They had this young lady from DC. Her name is Davida Baldwin. She's still doing it a little bit now. She kind of fell back for a while, but she did most of my covers, and because she did photo shoots, and she, it wasn't always. She did some stock photos from websites, but she would send me off like somebody that did to the shoot and select one. Like the girl on my third book is from Baltimore.
Oh, nice.
She's right there. She's on my Instagram page. And she knows that too. Actually, is another guy that made the best man win.
Mm-hmm.
He's from I think from Philly, and we met on Facebook. Video time and all that stuff. He was surprised. He didn't know his book was on his face was on my cover. He was gay though. He was gay, but he was like, wait a minute, will you get my picture from?
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, my covers. It was a process because she would pick something, send it to me, and I was being difficult a couple times because I'm picky. You want your book to be popping. It's forever. It's going to be around for a long time. So pick it is going to make you laugh. I think personally, my covers are awesome. I think they stood the test of time. You don't want a cover that's busy. Like if my covers are straightforward, what the title is nowadays. Some people have a sentence on the front of their book, okay? And I mean that works. The generations, things change, so you have to ride with the flow. But I won't be doing it. But I'm going to keep it. You have to keep it short and simple and nice and clean and classy. There's some really good graphic designers out here that are doing it now. I know a friend of mine who's doing it. She's an author. She's still under Urban Books as well. But our company is book covers.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you.
And yeah, but she gets the book covers from she did some photo shoots, and then she did some on I forgot the name of the place she go to, it's like where models go and they sell their pictures, and then it's a stock photos or whatever.
Oh, cool.
And I made sure that was nobody else using his pictures, okay? Because you see some people, and even now you have one person on 8 different covers, just flip differently or switch the other way,
oh,
but
really?
it's the same person. But yes, I mean, I was particular with my book covers. I knew that as an author, the ones that were being successful, they went with somebody that they could personalize with, they can talk to. When I did my book covers, I could call her at any given time and say, listen, I got a cover. She was a little bit more expensive at the time, but it pays off in the end. I'm still getting royalties. My covers are still shining and things like that. Sorry, I had 2 fur babies.
Oh.
Dogs or cats or rabbits?
Cats.
Cats. I'm a cat person too.
MC, I just have an A and a B, and then I'm gonna let Erica just go ahead and do her thing.
Go for it.
So A is please go ahead and send over those who you decide not to use. Just give them my number.
Oh my gosh.
And B, hey, you have not because you asked not. And
right.
B, if I say a name for you, I just want to hear your response. The name is Lynn Harris.
Okay, so it draws a lot of emotion for me, simply because he did it before me. He a forerunner. So I gave him credit on my first book. If you look on the back, on the inside, it's dedicated to him. But at the same time, I wanted my writing to be completely different from his. While I loved his style, I was a little jealous of his style. I loved my own. So you get to compete, compare, and complain people. They think it's a competition when my gift came from me. I didn't get a gift from somebody else. He had his own gift, I got my own. And I hate when people say, you trying to be like Eden Harris. No, first of all, he did. I'm still here. And I didn't say it to be me, but right. I like me. I like me. And, I get it, because everybody's going to be compared to somebody that did it before them. That's what just happens in this world. So you get to say, okay, I agree. He was an excellent writer, New York Times bestseller. And I can't take nothing from him. He in the history books already. And when I think about him, I'm like, his books, at first I was like, I ain't reading none of his books. Oh my, I can't do his books. Mm-hmm. He's too detailed. Like, he don't get to the point. Like, but when I started reading, I was like in love with these characters, okay? Like, when he kills a certain person off, just like I did in my series, I came for his throat. So he was already dead and gone, but like, things like, he's an excellent guy, like, excellent writer, and you're not going to hear anything negative from me about him. I just don't like to be compared to him because people think that he's the standard when he's not. He was just a writer just like me.
Mm-hmm. Would you say he was one of your main influences that kind of influenced you to start writing your own books?
Nope, Carl Weber.
Carl Weber, right. There we go. Like, nope. Exactly.
Right. My favorite book, one of my favorite books is from him. It's called So You Call Yourself a Man. And the book changed my life. Okay, listen. Like, he's a master of not seeing what you're reading. You could be reading something and it'd be right there. And you're not seeing it. And then you wait 3-4 chapters later and you're like, it's in your face like that. So, and then you're gasping. I threw the book across the room. That was the book for me. So him, and it's a combination of both of them, but Carl Weber, he was like kind of like the king of drama when it comes to books. Even though I didn't want to be like him per se, it's just his style was very deceptive. And I'm a sneaky person by nature, so when I'm writing a book, I'm going to stuff some stuff in there that you're not even going to pay attention to. That's very important. You're going to, at the end of the book, you'll be like, I told you way back in chapter 2, but you weren't paying attention.
Right. Kind of like creeps up on you a little bit.
Right. And that's
sorry, say that again?
That's the way I like to do books. It's going to be a surprise for you. I do throw surprises in my books most of the time. You're going to be thinking you're reading one thing, but you're absolutely not. Like, every single book I write, for the most part, you're going to be deceived when you're reading.
Like the rug snatched from under you. Yes. Those are the funnest. Right. Those are the funnest to read. Well, this has been a really fun conversation. I've learned a lot. I've added some things to my list. As we're closing out, what would you like people who are not familiar with your work to know about you when they're like approaching your books, or why they should approach your books and pick one up and read it?
Have an open mind. Right now, this climate right now with LGBTQ, everything is out in the open. Not always, not for everybody, but people are more receptive. Just have an open mind. Just have an open mind. My story is your story. It's just different chapters, and that's it. My story is your story.
Right. See, I'm gonna make sure that Nick and I get some of those royalty stuff. So as you were talking, you kept saying this phrase called "in your face," right? So I'll call Nick, and we're gonna work on a marketing campaign. And we have a T-shirt line that says "Surprise in your face."
Yes.
Have everything.
And then we need an Insta fan account of all the models from the cover.
There you go, right? And then the models on there. So we're just letting you know that Nick and I are going to put our bid in for that so that we can get those cash records sent to us. Okay. I just had to say that, and I'm done. So I thank you, but I just had to say that part. And it's recorded. So, hey, when you come out with it, Nick and I better have our cut. Otherwise, we're going to call you. And then, we're going to call Erica because she was here too. And
witness.
Let's just come to Baltimore. Hey, we'll see you at the festival.
Exactly.
So, Erica, if you want a book, Erica, just let me know. My some of my books are they in paper. Some of them are still in paperback. Except for my first book. Most of them are ebooks. Except for my first book. And I have 4 Audible books too.
Cool.
I've seen some of your books are on our Libby account actually,
Right.
but there's a wait for them, so I couldn't even check them out.
Well,
I can only read like a sample.
Because I'm popular. Like
I
when I back in the day when I first started, because I used to go look at the cat library, and it can tell you how many books the library purchased. Yeah. And the one in New York, my first book, I think they bought like 120 for the city of Mount. And I'm like, that's a lot of books.
Yeah,
They probably don't have any over there, but.
But no, like I was saying earlier, Erica, we carry a lot of MT's books in our system. So go to one of the larger branches or on the online catalog. Like we have them literally on the shelf for now, but after this, there's going to be an influx of circulation checkouts for MT Pope books.
Right.
But that's just reopening, so
yeah,
we'll just take all your books and stack them up to the side, and as people order them, we'll just put them in the bag, and they'll just take them out.
I do have books on my person. I carry them with me everywhere. But Erica, the book I'll tell you to start with is A Cleanup Man. I know it's still in circulation. I'm just gonna let you know the first page will take your breath.
Check the plumbing.
Right.
We need a disclaimer, a permission slip, ice water. You just better have the whole care package ready. I'm sure it's right.
I'll have my pearls ready to clutch them for the first page.
It's a good story, but
you're gonna bust them pearls off.
Right. A lot of people think I'd be exaggerating, but like, it's not. It's the truth. Like when I read some of it, I gas myself because I'm like, I'm in a different place creatively. I don't have enough of that raunchy laugh. I don't think I may have a little bit left.
After this call, you might reach out.
Right, maybe it's possible. But I'm a little bit more calmer now in books. So I'm trying to do a little more contemporary. Not as much cursing in my books. Because as a writer, you evolve. And that's probably why I'm stuck. But no, but I have one more.
With you. Stop forcing it.
I have 1 or 2 more dirty books left, but let me say before I venture off into some other things. Let me say that.
Yeah, right. We're gonna see a lot more from you.
Oh my gosh.
They're gonna come into Rite Aid soon. He's coming to Rite Aid, and then we'll see.
Oh my gosh. So if y'all want to invite me to the library or wherever you guys like, I'll come. I have books.
Awesome.
I'll do a book signing. I mean, I know not now because you gotta have a mask on and all that stuff.
You ain't even allowed in our library right now. We'll see you on the curb in a couple of weeks. We're not even gonna virtually put you in. You're not even allowed in our library. We don't want to see none of y'all right now. I was kidding.
I know.
No,
but I enjoyed myself. I did.
Yeah, it was really a fun conversation.
Awesome.
Learned a lot, like I said, especially about self-publishing. It was really interesting. I didn't know all those hoops and stuff you had to go through.
It's a little easier now. They do have help. Like you have platforms like Amazon and what's that? I forgot a couple other ones.
MT. MT. Now and I'm just gonna say this as being a fellow self-pub. Nick, this is the unofficial. This is the right.
Okay, that's good. You're good.
So here's the thing. And I'm getting at you because I'm a self-published author. You do not go to Amazon to self-publish. That limits it.
I do.
You get on. I'm
not just on there. I'm in Barnes and Nobles and.
Okay, that's where you sell. But to self-publish, you have to do your research, and there's only a few steps to do it. I did this for the library, shameless plug. but now my program plan is in from last year. But seriously though, it's like you were saying, it's not as complex. It's just the biggest important thing that people have to do is research and find out the best method for them. And it's not as expensive as you think too. But if I had some good royalty checks, I probably have way more promotion.
Oh my God.
But I'm just saying though, right? But since I have to go off of my my good job that I love greatly, and I really do appreciate, coming up on 6 years of celebrating at my wonderful job,
awesome.
Money. So you have to balance the budget, just like pay rent, order books. Okay,
right.
4 books, but I'm gonna turn the lights on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and then you gotta hope you get them pre-sales. But like you were saying, when people do come in the library, they will check the books out and they will not bring them back. But that turns into sales too. So MT, you can thank PGCMLS. We probably got you some sales from people still in the
I appreciate it.
Again,
we're fine free now, so
there you go.
Now they can keep it as long as they want.
You can't keep it forever though.
Don't give them ideas. My goodness.
Yeah, you have to come and
Wow.
sign some books for people. We're going to have to do an MC
Yeah,
giveaway
totally.
for summer reading. No, we can't do that. Never mind. Mm-mm.
No.
Or the adults can.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. I love that it's for adults too, by the way. I think that's great because a lot of times it's just like for kids, like the summer reading program stuff with other libraries, but I love that this library has it for adults as well.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to do it too. Like,
Totally, you should do it. And even watching this event counts for it. You can log that.
There
and
you
get
go.
that stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Oh yeah.
Wait
I
a
didn't
minute.
I was like, I want the T-shirt.
Wait,
Yes, exactly.
I get a paycheck like Mondale. I get
Oh my
entry
gosh,
Mondale,
forever.
and I get summer reading credits. Oh, this has been beneficial. And just saying, I was gonna stay on the Bible study call. Thank you, Lord.
Oh,
Won't he do it every
Right.
single time?
Right.
I cannot.
I ain't messing with y'all no more. I told you I'm sleepy. It's a sleep fatigue or fatigue. What's the word, Mondale? What's the appropriate?
Fatigue.
I'm sorry. What's the appropriate literary language?
Fatigue.
Okay, thank you. Can you tell Carl Weber to call me? I got some books too. I can take.
Oh
some
my
down.
gosh.
I
He in LA, baby. He gonna answer my phone call.
That's fine. That's
Uh-oh.
fine. I got Zoom, Google Meets. What do you want? we good. I got
FaceTime.
FaceTime. I was gonna say FaceTime. We're good. What do you
Oh,
want?
that-
Not the two phones.
Three. What do you
Right.
Yeah, the trap phone, LaDonna.
Oh
What's
my
going
God.
on, baby? We're authors. We're
Got me
publishers,
beat. I've only got the.
Oh,
We're
see?
I have
You know,
one, and
it's
I have one, and the screen is cracked, so y'all are outdoing me.
Oh, girl, that's iPhones. Who wanted Apple to get our screen cracked? I mean, screen
Oh
Mhm.
my
cracked.
God.
If we had good checks like Mondale Pope, our phones would be the deluxe.
Baby, listen, it's not that glamorous, okay?
Your headshot says otherwise, so.
Yes, it is
I
true.
do, listen, I'm a cheap person. I do my own hair.
Oh, that's
Okay.
really good.
Right, please. I'm very
Well,
cheap.
if you
Frugal.
sit in the house all day not writing books, you might as well do your hair. I mean, what else you gonna do?
True.
You ain't
Work,
talking to
you know.
nobody.
Running the store is hard.
That's fine.
I can imagine.
That
So-
headache of my headache.
We just pray that your next characters are gonna come through Rite Aid this week.
Right.
Whether it be direct connections, I mean,
Oh my gosh.
or,
Well, I think
or
my next
whether
book
it
will
be
become published.
indirect, whether it be on this side of the fence or that side of the fence or
Oh my
both sides of the
gosh.
fence. Lay on words. Me and Nick gonna
I
get a check.
cannot.
We gonna get a check. We are
No.
getting a check. You said
I hope so. I'm waiting for one this week, okay?
yeah, we
I hope you get it.
$ PG. Oh, my bad.
I think, no, BGE get that first, okay? They get the first pick. I'm sorry. I don't even
No,
get the
you were
first
saying
yet.
that you need help with marketing. I mean, we're just sitting here just brainstorming. Giving
I need
you
help with lights, electricity.
You are so silly.
There you go. We will shine a light on your marketing campaign. We will
The car
electrify
pavement.
your marketing efforts, all for one low rate. See if we
Oh
can
my
do this all day.
gosh. I believe you can do it too.
I got you. But you know, so yeah, I'm gonna let Eric go ahead and close it out because we be on it forever. I'm serious. I told you we get silly, and especially
This is awesome.
after like
I like
9 o'clock.
it. I like that you guys are both like, self-published authors or, you're authors, but you still have your other job. I think, LaDonna, your position is so great as an author because you work in a library. So it's like, it just makes
No,
sense.
it's not. No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not.
It's not. Okay, I revised that.
No, let me tell you why. Okay, so when I'm writing a book, I'm gonna take the spotlight for just a second.
Go for it. I'm used to it.
I'm advertising so I can get me a check. Watch this. So pretty much when you're working at the library, you get the, there we go. So when you're at the library though, you do get the opportunity to do research because you can see what other people's covers are, you can see what's being checked out, you can see the synopsis, you can see the format, you can see all the good stuff. But when it comes to like, you having to be like able to participate in author events, there is a issue where you can't do that. So you can do this, but you can't do that. So you kind of like torn because you're like, I really want to participate because I know I could call like MT Pope and Sharon and all these people, like, let me do it. But then it's like, I already got a contract with them, so I can't sell books there. But I'll just say it. There are creative ways to get the word out. A conversation might come up or somebody might say something like, then with me working in circulation now, I kind of like put your book here and then like mine there. You know what I mean? Like just strategic. You know what I'm saying? So you just kind of put them close by, you know what I'm saying? And then you throw in like a James Patterson or like a
oh my
Carl
God.
Weber. Yeah, because now we separate them by like, I don't want to say urban fiction, that's changed. So like the Black books, the Miss 30 books, the history books, all those books. So all I do is put it by somebody who I know got a name, and then they'll be like, LaDonna. And then I'll turn my badge around. I'll make sure I have my badge on that day and make sure it's like face in front. And I'll be like, did you need help with something?
I think that's me. I think that's well.
Yeah, you just make your badge swing. You like, did you need help with something? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm LaDonna. I'm such and such. And I'm like, oh, here's a book. So you just kind of talk around it, get it checked out, circulation. And they don't want to bring it back. They ended up giving it up to their girlfriends, and they got to buy it. And they,
oh my God.
So it's like, it's a dominoes effect. But if you put it next to an MT or Carl Weber or Donna Hill, hey, I get promotion off their back. So strategic.
Right. Strategic placement.
Enriching, enlighten, and educating.
Yes.
Right.
We got to do a whole thing on the website of all of the staff authors. That would be fun.
That would be cool, actually.
Yes.
That would be really cool.
And like have a whole reading list up, and yeah, let's do
We
it.
can have like an employee or staff author book discussion. And we just talk like we're talking now.
Yeah.
And we're bringing people who eat grapes while the interview is still going on. I mean,
the shade of it all.
You don't put anybody out there. You just be real.
I'm used to it.
And candid. He's used to it. See, that's what I said. We've been doing this it's been like since 2007, 13 years.
Yep.
Yeah. So we used to make them trips to the Baltimore Book Festival and just be working it. I was working at EAA and he was working at the bookstores, and we were walking around with, I had like the bootleg. I wish I worked at the library then when I had free printing, because I was getting like the little bootleg bookmarks. I was getting like the bootleg business cards. I had the ugliest flyers in the world because I hadn't learned graphic design yet. And I was passing them out. But guess what? When they saw me the next year, they were like, oh yeah, I remember this book, especially with, the titles. And they're like, what? So then we take our little yearly picture. It wasn't no Facebook back then, so everything was MySpace and Black Planet. So that's all we had.
Black Planet. That is Black Planet. Okay. I haven't seen that in a minute. Or MySpace.
She's coming for us again.
Listen. I just threw that out there to tease you. No,
that was our Facebook time. So when Facebook.
Are you Gen Z, Erica?
What'd you say? Oh my gosh, no. I'm a millennial.
Okay, me too.
Okay,
yes.
Gen Z is a little suspect.
Like, wait, I thought I could trust you. No, I'm kidding. Love that generation as well.
No, like my generation was scared of Facebook when it came out, because you just thought everybody was gonna take all your information, you putting all your business. That's what my mom say. You putting all your business on Facebook. Well, Mom, why are you on Facebook now? You know what I mean? Like, especially on COVID. And she put more stuff than me. And I'm like, Mom, that was dumb. Like, why are you putting that on? But now she's addicted. You know what I'm saying? So we started calling it like crack book and all that stuff. But yeah, we used to be out there. And I don't think I bought your book at first, Mondale. Yeah, you gave me a free one. And so, yeah, that's why I read it, because it was free, to be honest with you. And I didn't have any money. Don't laugh. I didn't have money, but I had to read it.
I love free books.
I knew I was going to see you the next year, so I had to at least read some of it.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I told you I got hooked. So that first page, when it was like getting into it, I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, wait. And before I knew it, I had laid on the floor the whole day. I didn't go to the bathroom. I didn't do anything. 7 hours straight, just glued to this book. And I was like, so honestly, you actually motivated me and encouraged me to read too. Because I'm like, if he can lock me into a book and keep my attention that long, I'm like, hold up, where's my computer? And I'm old school. I handwrite first. So I'm like, where's the pen and paper? I type afterwards. And that's how I actually you guys might not know this, but that's actually how I got the job at the library. I was unemployed and I was sitting there for 8 hours a day typing a book.
Wow.
And a position opened up, and then I just transferred over. So MC Pope actually influenced my job at the library system. Thank you.
That's amazing.
So
that is pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can trace my lineage, and now it'll be 6 years as of the 24th. So, or 29th or something, So the library system catapulted. Being in the library in the Dream Lab actually helped me get my books. And MT Pope, me trying to wait, I wrote it down. Compete, compare, and complain about his books being done. I take notes because I will be using it. Trust me. I will be using it.
You can use it. Don't copyright it though. Somebody else gave it to me.
Whatever. I'm gonna have a T-shirt. All I'm gonna do is go print a shirt right quick. This is surprise in your face. Don't compete. Don't compare. Don't complain. Oh
my
watch.
God.
Don't hate. I'm gonna wear it to next book festival. I got you. Next book festival, we're gonna wear matching shirts. We're gonna twin it. We're gonna really twin it. I'm gonna put my dread wig on and everything. We're gonna rock it.
Not the dread bag.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. We're gonna put on the dread wig and we're gonna find out the matching shirts.
I can't.
We've done it before.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm mad you got it like flip to the side and you got.
Thanks so much for tuning in for this super fun conversation with author M.T. Pope and Erica and LaDonna Nick from the Prince George's County Memorial Library System. Before we go, we just want to encourage everyone to please register for Summer at Your Library, which is the library's summer reading and engagement program open to all ages. You can log reading daily, log accessing online resources or virtual program attendance just like this program, and you can earn virtual badges and then eventually get some great free prizes like Summer at Your Library t-shirts, Washington Nationals tickets, and many other great prizes that will be announced in the next couple weeks. Thanks so much for joining us. Hope you have a good one.